Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It means tonight is AEW Dynamite, and it's a homecoming because they are returning to Daly's Place, of course, the venue that they were at for the entirety of the pandemic, pretty much, AEW. But they're returning tonight for the first time in a couple of years on pretty much their 5th year anniversary as a company. So this should be a very, very fun show today. Not just Dynamite, but this show too, this podcast, because we have a great panel with us today. A little bit of a different one to what we originally expected, but a great panel nevertheless. Firstly, the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. Clark, how are you?
What's going on, Ben? I'm stoked to be back. I feel like I almost didn't even leave after 2 shows yesterday, and it's already back this morning. It's awesome. Last night we had an absolute blast with Mr. Amazing. Shout out Mr. Amazing. Shout out Taylor Brooks. Shot and Drizzy. It was an awesome show. It was too much fun. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Off the Air, and I can't wait to break down Dynamite today.
Absolutely, and Bobby Petito enjoyed it as well, saying the interview was amazing. It really was. I watched it this morning. I was there in university watching it while I was doing some highly classified work, and yeah, it was honestly a great show. If you guys haven't checked out NXT Off the Air from last night, make sure you guys go and do that after the show today. But last but certainly not least, the Impact substitution for today. Brett Sternberg. Brett, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. How's everyone doing? Clark, Ben, I hope you're doing amazing. Today's show is going to be fun because I was at the first Winter is Coming at Daly's Place, so this is kind of like a homecoming for me in a sense. I saw Sting debut, and yeah, everything. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an amazing show. I don't think they're going to let down because they're homecoming, but we will see.
Absolutely. No, I hope you're right. I hope it is a banger of a show today because, you know, we're going to get straight into it. I think we might as well just jump headfirst into this topic. Let's talk about the AEW president, Tony Khan, and his tweets as of late. Specifically last night. Now, of course, we all know it's nothing new that Tony Khan likes Twitter, right? He likes to tweet some things, and sometimes those things, well, they land him in a bit of trouble. A lot of people make fun on social media and all of that, and last night was just the worst example of it, because I thought his initial tweet he did was actually quite funny, and then it soon got rather silly, and it basically just brought out the worst in all fans, basically. Because then you had tons of tribalism within WWE fans, AEW fans, and all of that. But I'll quickly read out the tweets. Basically, he tweeted, a double standard. Huck is 28-1 career record and on a winning streak. And he called out the champ. And there was outrage on social media. Whereas Jinder has literally lost every singles match he's been in for the past year, immediately gets a title shot, and there's no rage. I mean, I understand Tony Khan's point. I absolutely do. Apart from, it's a known thing, right, on social media. Your algorithm will give you more of what you look at. And Tony Khan is undoubtedly looking at AEW criticism, right? Because, as he should do, by the way, because obviously they've responded to fan feedback over the years, AEW, and that's been a big great thing about them. So, presumably he's going to get more of that AEW negativity on his feed compared to WWE negativity, because if he did get WWE negativity on his feed, well, he'd then know that there actually was a bit of an outroar about Jinder Mahal getting a championship shot, which just instantly makes this tweet a bit stupid. He then had him and the USA Network had a bit of a back and forth. That was a little bit funny. But he got a bit more stupid then. He started arguing with Eric Bischoff. They're both as bad as each other at the very least. But we then had Jinder Mahal reply saying, "Who, a word I cannot say, is Huck?" Then in capital letters, "Watch Monday Night Raw on USA Network, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern," all in capital letters, just like Tony Khan does. I mean, it was actually kind of funny reply from Jinder. It really was. But, I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I agree with Matthew McKay, who's saying it's just a high level of just unprofessionalism from Tony Khan. Because, I mean, let's be real about it. Focus on your own product. And last week they had a really good show. There's a lot of hype around tonight's episode too. And it's kind of like, why? Like, why do you have to overshadow that? Like, we've always said when AEW, like, good stuff's happened, it's gotten overshadowed by something that's kind of out of their control. This was fully in their control because it was their own president doing it. Number one Superfly is saying Tony Khan needs to get off social media. All he did was embarrass himself. In fact, Jinder Mahal went on the bump and explained he was trending on Twitter today. Indeed, he was. Jinder Mahal was trending like crazy last night. The bump took advantage of it. And it's quite funny. They had one of the highest viewerships for the bump in quite a while. Well, live viewerships for the bump in quite a while with Jinder Mahal on it today. So, Tony Khan's giving them more ratings. It's all just rather silly, isn't it? Let's look in the Instagram comments, see what people are saying there. People are saying, "Dub Jinder, Tony Khan is a clown." Listen, if Jinder is getting a shot, what is the problem? Tony Khan's company is a joke. I mean, everybody in the Instagram comments has been very harsh to Tony Khan. I'm actually going to come in and defend Tony Khan for a second here. Because let's not forget, right, if there wasn't a Tony Khan, if there wasn't an Elite, there wouldn't be an AEW. And if there wouldn't be an AEW, then I'm not sure this WWE product would have improved as drastically as it has in recent years, right? And it's given way more wrestlers, way more jobs. So I'm going to be a bit easy there. But Clark, does he need to forget his Twitter password?
I find it funny. I mean, let's put it this way. If you look at the tweets on paper, like, it's not the greatest look. He probably lost that, like, you know, in social media circles. But we forget this is professional wrestling. Like, we had an owner of a company that literally a part of his gimmick used to pull his pants down and have various employees put a nice kiss on his butt, right? In the other company, it's pro wrestling, it's entertainment. These are tweets. This is harmless. It's funny. The jabs back and forth, I find it entertaining, to say the least. It's funny. The online vitriol part of it is frustrating because I think if you just treat it as entertainment, which is what it is, it's not that big of a deal. You can have your opinion and think Tony Khan came out on the wrong side of the debate in this one, or Jinder Mahal, but it's a harmless Twitter debate. It's funny. It's funny and entertaining. We were talking about both all last night. Now we're still talking about them today.
It's true.
I don't have a problem with it in the least. Honestly, it's professional wrestling, man. The amount of things that are said on microphones on the actual product are, you know, compared to the tweets. It's like, yeah, is it a little unprofessional for a business owner? Maybe, but is it that big of a deal? No. I find it just overblown a touch, and I don't mind it. It's funny. I actually kind of respect that Tony Khan is so competitive that he just will put his foot in his mouth because he's just like delusional optimism almost in a positive way. I find it like endearing. It cracks me up. I mean, why not? He wants to win. He thinks he can win, and he's gonna keep trying. And
but it's not good luck for good luck for him though. Let's be real about it. On social media, there's been a big, like you said, it's been the biggest overreaction to all of this ever. But it's not the first time this has happened with him. No. Like, he knew that reaction was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a surprise.
But see, I don't think he cares because he's also not an on-screen character. So I don't know how directly it affects the product. If you've already made up your mind about AEW and Tony Khan anyway, when he tweets and you're going to address it and engage with it, it's just improving engagement. And you weren't going to watch AEW in the first place, likely.
But if, let's say you're a WWE fan, but a very casual WWE fan, right? Somebody who would be willing to give AEW a try, but doesn't know really, what network it's on, much about it at all. And you tune into Raw, you're enjoying it, whatever. You then see this tweet from Mr. Tony Khan, and he's just, being a bit rude for no reason to Jinder Mahal. I mean, surely that would turn you off the product before you even have anything against it.
Slightly, maybe, but I don't know how many people watch AEW because of Tony Khan. I don't think anyone does, in fact, because Tony Khan's not an on-screen character. You're not going to see him for the whole show unless he's announcing a new title or a big announcement or a signing. That's it. It's like 90 seconds of airtime at most. So I think it's kind of funny. It's like he's almost just like this backstage figure that we're talking about. Like, I don't think it directly even affects the product, right? He's speculating on his own company almost. So it to me, yeah, I don't think it doesn't help the perception of AEW amongst people that are aware of AEW already, but I don't necessarily think it would be a deterrent to somebody who didn't know what AEW was, because how are you even going to stumble upon a Tony Khan tweet unless you're like, it
was trending number 2 on Twitter.
Of course.
Number 2 worldwide.
I hear you there, but my point is, like, as a wrestling fan, generally speaking, you know what AEW is after the last 4 years. If you watch WWE all the time, you know what the company is. Whether you've given it a try or not, it likely, given the hardcore fan base that wrestling fans are, you're aware of its existence. Maybe, like you said, the network type stuff, but I don't. Yeah. I've never thought of Tony Khan as necessarily like a direct avenue, marketing wise, for AEW. It's more of just his tweets and things like that are stuff for if you're already a fan, you're gonna check out, and it's fodder for discussion.
No, I mean that's a good point there. To be fair, I do understand that. I mean, we've got a comment from Heartbreak_Kid on Instagram saying, "Hey guys, lots of love from India. Lots of love to you as well, Heartbreak Kid." We've got Rosado Mofo saying, "But it's not part of Tony Khan's character. That's real life, Khan." I mean, I get that. And he's also saying Jinder owns Tony. And this person, Mark. I'm sorry, I'm really going to botch his name. Mark De Hayden1 is saying, I watch AEW for Sky Blue and Julia Hart. I mean, they are, they've had great character developments in recent weeks, but we got a couple more comments here. Bobby Petito believes that Tony Khan should focus on promoting AEW Dynamite. Yeah, agreed. Melissa saying, hey, Melissa, I hope you're having a great evening. And Soul is agreeing with Clark on that one. Meanwhile, Shard, the Tuesday Night Delight, is saying Jinder beat Tuck. Tony is annoying, but he loves AEW anyway. But, I mean, we can speculate this all day, but Brett, I want to find out your thoughts on this one. What do you think about it all?
Well, I believe that this is who Tony Khan is. Truly, I think since he was born, his father's always been wealthy, and he's always been, this is not anything towards Tony Khan, but he's always been spoon-fed. So when he throws a tantrum, it's gonna be a tantrum, unfortunately. So he took it out in the wrong place where he only has a voice, because when he speaks on air, it doesn't really do much. And we've seen that through the fans' reaction and through viewers' reaction in general. But as I was saying, someone really famous actually said this once: all publicity is good publicity. So I don't believe that this is going to harm the product whatsoever. I actually think that it's going to generate more publicity towards the product, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, I hope you're right. I hope you are right there. Yeah, no, I hope you're right. But the issue is, trending number 2 last night was Jinder Mahal, not Tony Khan. And that's what I found quite weird about it. But I do hope you're right, but I do just worry it's going to turn people off AEW. And I want to quickly jump in and defend Tony Khan again for a second. I don't think many people thought this day was going to come. But when Tony Khan was a kid, Shard was still, starting to earn his money. It was not until Tony Khan was near his teens that Shard really started getting loaded there, right? In fairness to him, I will say that, but it's true. All publicity is good publicity, is what they say, but will it be this time? We're gonna have to wait and see. But you think it will be, Brett?
I definitely think it will be. I mean, it's gained a lot. Everyone who's used bad publicity has gotten them to a better place, unfortunately. And we're going to see how it turns out. And I think it's for attention tonight, to be completely honest with you. I don't know what's going to happen.
Wow.
I don't necessarily think there's going to be a debut, but I could be wrong. It's AEW. We see a debut every other week nowadays. So,
Nowadays, it's been all along.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Either way, I feel like we may not. Either way, I feel like it's to garner attention for tonight because something special is going to happen because it's the homecoming. They're calling it a homecoming. I feel like so.
I hope you are right. We got Ayers Connor _ on Instagram saying, I don't see TK going anywhere good. Well, listen, let's just hope it doesn't hurt AEW's momentum. Let's just hope that.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be on the air. I don't mean to cut you off. He's not going to be on the air talking about this because he can't talk on the air. He's incapable of talking. He needs a prompter to talk on the air. So, and even when the prompter's in front of him, he can't get his lines straight. So he needs to take his attention elsewhere. And unfortunately, X, formerly known as Twitter, is that place.
Oh, I feel like me and you have just switched our views about AEW in the last couple of weeks. But we got a couple of comments here. Shard saying, I'm still broke. What do you mean? I was talking about Tony Khan's father. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Dynamite. Dynamite tonight. Hangman Page, Claudio Castagnoli, Tony Khan. Take my money and stay off Twitter because this is the type of stuff that I want to see you spending your time doing. Booking matches like these. Claudio Castagnoli, Hangman Page, I'm not going to complain. Is there much of a story? Not particularly. But Claudio Castagnoli did do a brilliant promo building it on AEW Collision. And then the full version of that was on the Control Center today as well. I mean, Claudio said in that promo, he said he knows his win and loss record isn't the best, but he always wants to fight. He always wants to be competing because he wants to be, the toughest guy there. He wants to be a man and, fight anybody who steps up and is worth it to him. And if Hangman Page is a man of his word, then he'll fight him there tonight. And Claudio sold me on it. I'm excited for it, but Hangman also needs a win. How would you book this one, Clark?
This is going to be a slugfest, and I love slugfests no matter what. It's going to be stiff, great strikes. Claudio can work any style and anybody. I cannot wait for this match. I would love Claudio to get the win, and I love the promo, but I still feel like I'm torn on this. I just switched my pick twice in my head. I'm actually going to say Claudio wins this one. I'm going to put Claudio over. I think he can't afford a loss in a way that Hangman can. I think Hangman's still over enough that in a valiant effort, losing to Claudio tonight was fine. He can recover from it. And so I am going to say that Claudio wins. I actually kind of hope he does like a little bit of throwback since it's winter is coming and Sting had his debut and uses the sharpshooter.
It's homecoming. It's homecoming.
I'm sorry. But homecoming, winter's coming. That's my bad. Homecoming at Daly's place, but uses the sharpshooter like he kind of was in the past. Maybe as like a little nod to Sting along the way to Sting's retirement. I just like seeing when he breaks that out, and I think Claudio puts it on really well. If that makes sense, it's a good sharpshooter. So that would be the way that I would put him over. I don't know about Hangman tapping necessarily, though, is the only issue I have with that pick. But that's what I'm going to go with. That's I had to talk myself into it. I changed picks in my head twice. I was going to go Hangman, Buckshot Lariat, but no, I can't. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm still saying Hangman because I really think what they're building to with the Hangman and Swerve stuff is a number one contenders match. I think that's what they're going to do, and I think Swerve's going to get a title shot. So yeah, I think Hangman's got to win here, and I think Swerve's going to win a couple more matches too, and then they're going to build them up to Revolution, Swerve, Hangman, number one contenders match, and then at a point shortly after that, I think we'll be getting Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland. We've got Ayers Connor on _ on Instagram saying, is AEW worth watching in 2024?
Yes.
Watch it tonight. Yes. What have you got to lose?
Short answer is yes.
Unless you don't like multi-man matches like me, maybe don't watch tonight's show because there's a lot of those. But in general, yes, it's a really fun product, right? If you have the time to enjoy both WWE and AEW, right? And this slightly off topic, but I'm gonna go on a rant about it very quickly. I do not understand how WWE fans hate AEW and AEW fans hate WWE. I don't understand it one bit because the products, especially at this point in time, are so similar in a lot of ways. AEW is slightly more fast-paced and more action, more in-ring based compared to WWE, which is a little bit slower and storyline based. But it's not like drastically different anymore. There's a lot of overlap between the two. So if you like one, you probably like at least some of the stuff on the other. I understand it if you don't have time for both. I understand if you prefer one and because you don't have much time, you just want to, just watch one because you prefer it personally. I understand that. But hating both of them makes no sense to me. Like, absolutely none. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's odd to me too. It's one of those things where it feels like both sides in some way feel like the other side is stepping on their toes and they're actually mutually beneficial having both.
Yeah.
It is the irony, right? Like, I mean, you look at how much Uber improved as Lyft became a competitor, right? Like they're going to drive each other to deliver a better product. I've never understood it. And it's even funnier because we've been talking about the Tony Khan thing this whole time. It's like, he's not an on-screen character. You won't have to see him tonight. If you do watch AEW tonight, you won't have to see him or hear him tonight. And so it's like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what he looks like public perception wise, as long as the product's good. Generally speaking, people are going to tune in.
I think the wording of this comment's a bit extreme, but I actually kind of do agree with what Anthony Manzano is saying, though. Tony Khan's the owner of a company, so by doing this, he's making himself look like a mark. Basically making himself look like, a fan by going down to some of the level of some of the toxic fans, which he's talking about. He's going down to their level rather than staying above it like he should, because let's be real about it. Yes, he should read some criticism of AEW, but he doesn't need to, respond to it sarcastically or anything like that, because...
I agree. I mean, it's a little Jerry Jones-ish in my eyes. Jerry Jones for the Cowboys. He does his own radio show breaking down everything about the Dallas Cowboys and then talks trash about other teams and owners and stuff. But at the end of the day, they still fill Cowboy Stadium 8 times a year for home games. And they're the best team in merchandising in the NFL. They're America's team, finger quotes. So it's like, that's the way I kind of look at it.
And this is another good comment from Anthony Manzano saying it's tribalism. People who grew up watching WWE only want that. And some hardcore AEW fans can't deal with WWE still being the top. I mean, actually, I think you nailed it. I really think you nailed it there,
I agree,
Anthony.
100%.
That is true.
I agree. I think
Soul's got a comment completely unrelated back to the Swerve Hangman thing. Exploding barbed wire deathmatch at Revolution? I could actually maybe see that happening, but I don't.
Why not?
Particularly want. I don't know. If it goes well, I'd love to see it. But
better
it's just
fireworks.
There's so much. But it's not going to be good for them again because
we got to start that hashtag. Get better fireworks for Revolution.
I think it's a bit too long to be a hashtag. I know you're
I know,
it's
too
familiar.
A shame. We'll work on the
Twitter,
phrasing.
But let's now move on because Brett, I want to know your thoughts on some multi-man tag team action, right? Because this one's going to be a bit of a headache to read out, but it's a bit. Sorry, there was a bit of lag on my end. There, am I all good?
Oh, you're good. I'm shaking my head because of all the people that are just thrown in this randomly. Like it literally, it's like someone clicked a randomizer or a randomizer button on a video game, and everyone was just thrown in a match. But go ahead.
Well, actually, Brett, I think you just summed it up perfectly. It really does feel like that. Apparently, I believe it's a tribute match, both of these matches, to Brody Lee. I think that's what people are saying, but it still feels a bit random. And you guys know me, I'm not a fan of tag matches where there's more than 6 people in the ring at once. So this isn't going to be my cup of tea today, but listen, some people like it, and I'm sure it'll be fun. Let me break down the matches. Thunder Rosa, Chris Statlander, Willow, and Anna Jay will be teaming up to take on Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Saraya, Ruby Soho. I mean, I thought Julia Hart was not Julia Hart. I thought Anna Jay was a heel. I didn't realize that had changed. Then Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Toa Liner, I always mess up his name, and Bishop Khan are teaming up to take on Orange Cassidy, Dustin Rhodes, Adam Copeland, and Preston Vance. This will be fun, but like you said, Brett, randomized button on 2K. What are your thoughts heading into these?
I mean, I don't even know where to wrap my thoughts around, to be completely honest with you, because this is just so random. I'm happy that I get to see action. Obviously, there's going to be a lot going on, and I don't think every camera is going to be able to catch a lot of things that are going on. And I believe that they are really messing up a lot of people, not only storylines, but people's heads, and they're confusing people when they're putting people on certain teams, unless we see them act out and be against their own team in a sense. But if it's not a tribute match, which they're not calling it a tribute match, I really don't understand the point of the match whatsoever. I think they could have used this time to actually build storylines like we're talking about. But I think that they're putting on these matches and showing all of this talent because it's the homecoming. They're doing it because they're coming home, and these are the people that helped build the company through the pandemic and were there since day one, in a sense, when the pandemic started with them. So I do believe that this is going to be good for television. Maybe not for ratings in a sense, because I don't think the match is going to be so good, but I think it'll be good for television. That's the only reason I think all of these people are being used. The embassy, I don't really get, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, just to confirm, Tony Khan tweeted out yesterday saying that these matches were booked as a tribute to Brody Lee, to recognize him being the dominant figure of that era of AEW, and the other people from the ones in the match who weren't in the Dark Order, they've been picked because they're fan favorites. It is a bit random, to be fair.
Can we announce this then? Maybe somewhere. I know he did it on Twitter or X. I'm sorry, where he went ahead and just did everything else, which overshadows all of this.
That's true. That's true.
But what can we announce it for a casual fan that isn't maybe following Tony Khan on X, so we can? It's not overshadowed.
I'm sure hopefully they'll see it on the show today, but no, it does feel random. It does. I don't like it, but Soul's got a prediction. I'm going to call it right now. Mercedes Moné will debut after the women's multi-woman match tonight, leading to a stare-down with Saraya at Revolution. I feel like Mercedes Moné is going to be rumored to show up on every show in every company for the rest of eternity, and she's actually retired. That's my prediction.
I think we're going to get Britt Baker tonight.
Ooh. Okay.
I think that's who's going to come back after this match. She's close. She lives in Florida. We know
geographically convenient.
Yeah, she's right here. I think it's definitely more than capable to have Britt Baker come back tonight.
That'd be a fun one. I'd be all over that.
No, I absolutely do agree with you. We got some more Instagram comments. So it seems like the AEW haters have left the chat, and now the WWE haters have joined this comments the other way. Guys, don't hate. Enjoy wrestling. Come on, it's not that hard. You don't have to watch both, but don't hate.
The only reason I'm so critical on AEW or WWE is because I love wrestling so much. Yeah. That is the only reason I am so critical. I don't hate either company. I love that they're competing, and it gives people more of something to watch.
It's true. Absolutely true. Now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about a match I'm excited for. A match I'm very much excited for. Sammy Guevara, Ricky Starks. You guys know me from the start in AEW. I've said that, they need to focus on their young talent. And over the last year or so, they have done that much more. MJF, of course, had that long title run. At which point, that excuse went out the window because they, were pushing homegrown talent to the absolute moon. But Ricky Stark, Sammy Guevara, they're two people who are yet to kind of reach that next level. And I'm really excited to see them face of tonight in Daly's Place. Sammy Guevara is so talented, right? Obviously, there was some controversy behind him before. Tay Mello discussed that this week, and, both him and Mercedes Moné, shook hands. They moved on from that. But, come on, let's push Sammy Guevara. Let's make him more than just Chris Jericho's lackey here, because that guy's got real, genuine potential. He's got a good look. He's a solid promo. He's quite a natural heel, as well as just being very, very good in the ring. I don't understand why he isn't the main eventer in AEW, because he has all the things which on paper that company should want. The in-ring stuff, but then also, a good promo too. I don't understand why he isn't a bigger deal, but I'm excited for this one.
I feel like in the weirdest way possible, the Matt Hardy stuff just derailed his momentum so badly. Like, people haven't gotten over it yet. Like, it's weird. I think Sammy Guevara is immensely talented, and it's the old cliche: styles make fights. Him and Ricky Starks, stylistic beauty here. This is going to be athlete city. You're going to see awesome spots, quick pace, but they're both really, really good bell-to-bell professional wrestlers as well. So it won't be a spot fest, finger quotes. I don't think we'll just see good ones that make sense, and that's something I always love to see. As far as my pick in the match, though, I do think Starks goes over still, even despite Sammy having some momentum. I don't think you beat Ricky Starks because he's Ricky Starks, and he's just, to me, Starks is as overlooked as Sammy, and he's carrying a belt still, which I find fascinating, right? He's carrying
and Sammy's challenging for it on Saturday at Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, it's odd, both, but Starks is who I would put over here for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would actually agree with you normally. The reason I don't agree with you is because they have a title match this weekend, right? And I'm a big fan of the challenger going in with a victory, even if it's not a tag team action. Still, call me traditional. I like that. Because surely Sammy and Jericho aren't winning those tag team titles. Surely not.
No, I don't think so.
I hope not. I think that might
be an odd decision booking wise.
Yeah. I feel like Tony Khan again might cause chaos on Twitter if that is the case. But
chaos is on Twitter.
That's true. We got a couple of comments here. Bobby Petito saying, "What if Serena Deeb shows up tonight on Dynamite?" I think that's entirely possible. Then we've got Bobby Petito saying, "Ricky Starks is great. He absolutely is. Sammy Guevara doesn't need Chris Jericho." I agree, Bobby. And Numero 1 Superfly's agreeing as well. Make Sammy a star already. He can't continue being Jericho's lackey. And Soul thinks he will continue being Jericho's lackey, but they'll at least have some, title gold around their waists.
It's possible, but I just don't see it personally.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Let's move on anyway. And let's now talk about what I think will be... I'm loving these hat changes, Brett.
It's ideal.
I'm not doing anything. I have no idea what's going on here.
It's the hat, Ben. It's not Brett that's doing it. It's the hat.
It's moving on its own. It's magical. Magic hat. But now let's move on and let's talk about what I think will be the main event of the evening. A tornado tag team match. Sting will be wrestling maybe for the last time ever in Jacksonville, teaming up with Darby Allin to take on the Don Callis family, Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs. I think this is going to be a really fun match. I have a feeling that this will be maybe one of Sting's better matches in AEW, but here is the thing. Here is the issue. Powerhouse Hobbs and Takeshita need a victory. They absolutely need one. There's no way around it. The Don Callis family at times just has looked weak, right? They need a big victory here so they can continue their upward momentum and just, be taken as, looked at as a serious faction, because Powerhouse Hobbs is fantastic. Takeshita, I think everybody knows he's fantastic. He got over as a face and then he got over as a heel. I mean, this guy at such a young age, the sky's the limit for him. So much potential, unlimited amount. But Brett, what are your thoughts heading into this one?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. First off, Konosuke Takeshita is one of my favorite up and coming talents that are in wrestling today in general. I think he's probably maybe the best up and coming talent that is out there, including the roster on NXT. And that's saying that's a lot of talent right there. And I'm not downing anyone whatsoever. I just think this guy is super, super, super talented. And I think he's on the next level. And he's gotten that preparation before anyone else kind of had a chance to, because he's been working in Japan for so long, since so young as well. So, but pertaining to this match, I will say that Sting and Darby can afford a loss tonight, because I think that this is now going to garner some heat and attention for them to win at Sting's finale, or at the pay-per-view next Saturday, right? Next Saturday.
No, the pay-per-views. The pay-per-view itself is a couple of months away, actually, I think.
Oh, okay. So then they're building, what they're doing now is what they're building story right now.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a nice way. Like, yes, this is Sting Homecoming, and I think we're going to see all of the old school tricks and whistles pulled out of the bags. Same with Darby. I think he's going to do a few coffin drops and some crazy stuff here and there. But I do believe that Don Callis' family will probably come out on top because they play dirty, and we all know this. And there's not many people. I don't think they're going to come out to help Jericho and Sting right now. I don't think it would add to the story whatsoever. I just think that this is building up the Don Callis family to be a powerhouse, and they need to. And they also need to establish core members, please, because I feel like it changes every other week for me, and I don't know who is in this family and who's not in this family. And now Kyle Fletcher's in the family all of a sudden, which I'm happy about. And I just wish that we would see Will Ospreay be the main figure of this faction.
So apparently he's not in the family. Apparently he was just doing a favor. I mean, officially it's Kyle Fletcher, who is actually in Will Ospreay's faction too, which is where the overlap was. And then you get into promotional. It all gets confusing. Now Ospreay's left New Japan. Who knows what will happen there? But right now it's Kyle Fletcher, Powerhouse Hobbs, of course, Takeshita. And I think that's it, because Sammy's left now, isn't it? So I do believe there was 3 paintings, and there was the 4th, and the 4th was Sammy's.
Yeah, but see, this is just so confusing, and even for me as someone who's been paying attention, because they had Don Callis did the whole portrait with Ospreay. So isn't that kind of indoctrinating someone into his family?
I think it was like a favor. I mean, maybe he will be when he arrives. So we're yet to see. But I mean, they are on commentary at least said that he wasn't a member, and it was because of the links with Kyle, and like as a one-off to help them, and because they both dislike Chris Jericho. I think that's what it was all about. But it is confusing. You're right. Let's treat them like a real faction and not Don Callis' lackeys, right? Let's give them a victory tonight. Have them beat Sting and Darby Allin. I know everybody's going to be all upset. Oh, Sting's lost on his retirement tour. He's putting a team over. And you can always lead to, another match or something like that. But tonight, give them the victory. Got a couple of comments here. We've got this. Anthony Manzano saying, see, this is why I kind of hate having the match, because they want to feel... have a good win for Sting.
Good win for Sting.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. I'm not a very good reader. But no, I needed help with that today in uni. But anyway, but yeah, no, it's true. Sting, you want to have Sting have a win on his retirement tour, but you need these guys to have a win too. I agree with you, Numero One. So I agree with you, Anthony. And Numero One Superfly is saying, if you don't want Sting nor Don Callis' family to get a win, either have a draw or a DQ.
It's no DQ.
Oh yeah, it's no. Oh, you can't be.
Match.
Yeah, it can't be either, unfortunately. I mean, also the other thing as well is AEW fans typically don't like DQs or countouts, because when Tony Khan made the company, one of the things the Elite and him said was they weren't going to do those finishes, which WWE were doing so many of at the time. Now, they kind of got themselves trapped a little bit because nowadays WWE aren't doing them as much. And at times there is a place for those in wrestling. But, I mean, I also understand why you wouldn't want one. But, Clark, what about you? How are you feeling heading into potentially Sting's last match in Jacksonville, Florida?
So, I've said this before, like when you see Sting these days, it's like going to the Rolling Stones or Billy Joel. You just want to see him play the hits.
Yeah.
And we'll get the hits. I think he'll play the hits. I don't have an issue with the other side going over. In fact, I actually think they will, because Sting doesn't have to be the one that's pinned. This is where, with the Texas Tornado format, shenanigans throughout the arena, Daly's place is easy to operate given the layout. So you have Sting maybe distracted by Callis, maybe distracted by someone else, and that's where Takeshita or Hobbs can isolate Darby Allin. He takes the pin. Then maybe Sting, comes back to make the save as there's a post-match beatdown of sorts to stand tall to end the show and continue the rivalry. There's multiple routes we can go here where it doesn't have to be Sting plays the hits and then it's Scorpion Death Drop, game over. I don't think that that's the outcome. I think Sting still does play the hits, but that they take the loss and it's the best of both worlds. I have no issue with that booking, and I think that's the route that I would go if I had the pencil right. I dropped like 5 cliches in a row there. That was bad, but either way,
I love it.
I'll try to stop with the cliches, but it's gonna be a real banger. No, but Sting's gonna play the hits, and Darby takes the pinfall. I'm gonna call Hobbs Spinebuster on Darby because I just love the Powerhouse Hobbs Spinebuster. I think it's one of the best.
It's a great Spinebuster. It looks so
in the
good,
game right now.
it?
It's vicious. It's violent, and Darby's size, like he can make it look like he puts him through the mat. Maybe he does put him through the mat. In fact, that would be interesting. Although that makes the pin tougher, but we've seen it before.
They just break the ring. Hey, let's do that.
Goes through the ring. He just spinebusters him all the way through.
There's a comment I want to quickly address. It's a bit of a, I guess, a childish, tribalist one, whatever you want to call it, but it's also quite funny, so I'm going to read it out. Kevin Arbrew is saying, who said Tony Khan doesn't make stars? Yesterday, Tony Khan made the whole
That's funny.
The whole and Hitch, and that's funny. That's funny.
Funny. That is definitely funny.
That one's got me. That takes creativity. I don't mind these digs when they're clearly a little bit lighthearted, creative, and a bit of a joke, right? But when both sides are just hating on each other, let's have less of that, please, and let's instead hate on the Don Callis family not getting a push. Yeah, I guess I'll push that, whatever.
We'll push the Don Callis family, I think.
I hope you're right. Do you know who else we should push? We should push Christian Cage, because he is just one of the best guys in all Elite Wrestling. See, we've gone 42 minutes in a video talking about AEW, and you didn't think I was going to talk about Christian Cage. I never forget. I always support the patriarch himself, Christian Cage, who tonight is having a well-deserved night off and spending it at home with Mama Wayne. And of course, he's teaching his son, Nick Wayne, some, invaluable lessons, I'm absolutely sure. So Adam Copeland can, go in all these 5-man random tag team matches all he wants. Meanwhile, Christian Cage is going to go and be a good father figure and not tweet out anything stupid on Twitter. I've only just noticed Brett's hat again.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this thing, but
it's got a mind of its own.
Hey, let's keep it light, let's keep it positive, and let's have an amazing week, everyone. All right.
By the way, I gotta admit, Ben, I'm impressed. You made the 42 minutes without mentioning Christian Cage. You actually beat Shad's record. He went 37 minutes before he mentioned Tiffany Stratton last night, which was his personal record. So you actually, it's pretty impressive to go 42 minutes without Christian Cage.
Christian Cage, I'm sure, goes much longer than that. But now let's move on and let's talk about... We're actually talking about nothing. It's the end of the show, guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a bit of a chaotic show today. We had a bit of things behind the scenes, a few scheduling issues, but we managed to get this show done, and it's been a blast. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Brett for joining me for this show today, and thank you to you guys who commented both on Instagram, YouTube, all of the platforms. Please support us, like, subscribe, follow, whatever. Cheeky 5 stars on Spotify. It really does help us out. We're here every single day for you guys. Not even Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, every single day, 364 days a year, only taking off Christmas. That's the only day we take off. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow for Throwback Thursday, 11 p.m. GMT, UK time basically, 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. See you guys then. Peace.